appreciate your time and this platform.
Thank you. Sue, I hate to put you on the spot. Do you want to?
No, I certainly, typically I will have a recommendation for the board on almost all topics, but this truly is one that the board has to make a decision on based on your involvement in the community. You know that the feeling of the community, you know the whatever, and so whatever the board decides to do, it'll be my job to then go and educate. And so that there has been question about Fund 46, and I have mentioned, Karen and I have talked numerous times, I believe Fund 46 is often referred to as the Jackson Fund, because that's truly what, when we started it, we talked about Jackson as a need for improvements. And so money has been put into Fund 46 on a regular basis, and Karen has been working on trying to make sure that all the money that we have talked about is actually in the right spot. And so that, but what I mentioned to the Jackson Village at their last meeting was that it really doesn't, Fund 46 doesn't specify that it has to go to one entity or another entity. It's just for capital improvements. I truly believe that the board today, as well as in 2013 when they established Fund 46, certainly the intent was that it should go towards the reconstruction or remodeling of the Jackson facility. So I hope that I didn't misrepresent. It's not a first come, first serve. It's not when the money's gone, it's gone. But there truly, it isn't earmarked specifically for one project or another project. It's just for long-term capital outlay. But having said that, I know based on discussions that I have seen in board minutes that I've looked at, there's no question that the intent was to do this. Even though the law doesn't say it has to be specifically for a project, it does, the intent of the board when it started in 2013, as well as other allocations that you have made since then, have always been under the impression that it's the Jackson Fund. And so I don't want to take away from that, but the law itself is clear in that it isn't specifically for one project, it's for capital projects. And once you start putting the money in, you have to wait at least 5 years before you can take any of it out. And so it's not 5 years from the last, it's 5 years from the first money that went in and go from there. And so whether it's tonight or I would prefer that maybe at our next meeting or in the not too distant future, our business director, finance director will give us a very detailed explanation of how much money is in the account, when the account was started, and unless you want to do it tonight, but I would suggest that down the road would be a great time for that to happen. And so this truly is a decision of the board as to whether you want to go forward tonight or not.
Okay, appreciate that. Mr. Schmidt?
And no disrespect intended, Ms. Larson, but the roof's leaking, I don't think something that this referendum, at least would hope not, would be addressing. I hope that leaky roofs would be addressed under just regular maintenance. Because I've seen that this building had the roof replaced, and one over at Badger, there's a portion of that had the roof replaced. I would hope that would be the case. And if not, we better then have a reassessment of our.
I think it's the plumbing.
No roof. I'm referring especially to the leaky roof.
Oh, I apologize. The plumbing.
Okay. Well, even that, if there's a problem with that, that needs to be addressed.
I know they've done great on our roof maintenance over the years and different segments being replaced. I think this goes deeper to the 50-year-old plumbing that is part of the infrastructure that's due for replacement.
I think there is a need at both Jackson and at the high school. In fact, I don't think it's a $30 million need at the high school. I think it's more like 60, the list of things that need to be done up there. However, I do not want to be accused of being non-transparent in what this board does or decisions that this board makes. I think we simply ran out of time here and have not been able to communicate to the community what that need is and how much it costs. And, you know, for that reason alone, I see no problem in waiting, whether that's waiting until April and spending the next 7.5 months communicating to the community what Jackson needs are and the high school needs are, or if it's waiting a whole year. But I don't want the community to think that we're trying to hide something, that we're trying to pull a fast one on them. We have policy 615 in place, and we, quite frankly, have followed that policy to a T in disclosing that we're going to ask for $50 million to borrow, and there's interest on top of that. Estimates could be as much as $35 million on top of that. Whether we go to a referendum now or later, we intend to follow policy 615 again to a T. So, you know, is it a little disappointing that we're not going to start building a new elementary school soon? Yes. But again, we won't get the votes if the community thinks that we aren't being transparent or that we're trying to pull a fast one on them. And so I think slowing down and delaying this, again, whether it's 7.5 months or 12 months from now, I think is the right thing to do. So, any other further comments? In that case,
I just had two extra comments. One, I'm curious to see where enrollment numbers are going to come with the economy booming. I have friends looking for houses that are being gobbled up in the neighborhood. I have some even young friends of my son looking to move into the community. I'm hoping our enrollment is going to turn up. I think we'll be watching that over the next year. The enrollment numbers aren't out this year. That'll further explain the need in Jackson and some of our other schools. The second point, I volunteer to be on a committee. I think if we can form the proper committee with the district, school board, and the community to form, let's raise money in a public-private partnership for a STEM building, like Ken said. I think that was a part of the improvements being considered. Let's see if there's somebody that wants to help raise funds for that. So I think with the extra time, it seems, like you said, Joel, I think we can do a lot to educate the community and help raise funds.
any further discussion? It appears that nobody will be making a motion tonight. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Do we even need to discuss at all the second item on the agenda?
I don't think, since we took any action on number 1, that we'll even come
Excellent.
to number 2, so. Motion to adjourn and a second by Chris. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much.